Hello, guys. Good morning. Um, so, and what I normally do when I do speeches is I walk around. I do a lot of, and I had breakfast this morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. Just gonna move this out the way. Uh, so, how's everybody doing? How many of you guys have heard about DYU8? Okay, what do you think? No, tell me later. Tell me later. I'm joking. I was invited to the expo, obviously, to connect and kind of talk about my experience throughout sitting down and having great conversations with people. And just to give you a little background on what DYU8 is, it's essentially a movement I came up with to connect with people while they commute in New York City. So I saw that there was a need based on people not having conversations and people not connecting. And I was like, I really want to do something. I really want to do something where I just have conversations with people and see where it goes. So it wasn't directly a company, or I didn't want to start a company, but more I just wanted to do something because I saw a negative need. And based on that, I decided to sit in subways and have conversations with people, but not only have conversations with people, but also listen to them, listen to what was going on, listen to their day-to-day, listen to how work's going, listen to what's going on with their families. And what's really, really funny about it is that people also want to talk about dating, right? It has the word date in it, so people want to talk about dating. So it was a mixture of a lot of different types of connection and taking it from connection to adding different components. So I started out with just sitting in the subway and having conversations, and I was like, you know what? What can I do for people who don't want to talk? Like, not everybody wants to talk. So I came up with board games. Let's start using board games. So how many of you guys play Connect 4? Right? Cool story about Connect 4. I actually had the opportunity to share my project with the creator of Connect 4, Howard Wexler. So what's really, really cool is that I actually get to connect with Howard Wexler about connection with his game. Right? It's really something that was really, really cool as well. So DYU8 overall has created so many different relationships for me, including opportunities like this one. And I wanted to take some time just to kind of give you guys an overview of what the workflow I use, or how the workflow I use to connect with people got me to this place, got me to a place where I can be comfortable sitting in front of you guys or sitting in the subway having great conversations. And I broke it down to something I call the 3 C's. And honestly, it can be 4, it can be 5, but these are the three things that I stick with every time I have a conversation with someone or have a conversation through DYU8. And the first one is having courage, right? Having courage in what you want to do. So Dr. Maya Angelou, the late great Dr. Maya Angelou, said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, so don't hold me to it, but she said, courage is the most important virtue out of all the virtues, because without having courage consistently, you're not going to be great, or you're not going to be well-versed in other virtues. And I take that very much so to heart. I have a weird, and I'm a weird guy when it comes to courage, because I believe I can accomplish anything. I believe no matter what it is, I can accomplish anything, but not only I can do it, but you can. So I really believe that in every one of us, we have something that we can really put out there when it comes to what we want to do, whether it's an idea, whether it's helping someone, whether it's developing something, and we just have to have the courage to take that chance. So that's why courage is the forefront of what I do with DYU8. Secondly, confidence, right? So having the courage to create something is cool, right? I came up with this cool idea, DYU8, yay. But from that cool idea, I have to have the confidence to see it through, to develop it. So what I did is I was like, what can I do to turn this not into something where I'm just sitting and talking to people and not addressing my own kind of the things that I want to kind of have conversations about. How can I create something where it goes both ways? So what I started doing is I started practicing, right? You always hear about practice, and I don't know how many basketball fans we have here, but Allen Iverson, practice. He hates practice, right? He's like, I'm the star player, practice. Well, practice, and this is strictly me, practice does not make perfect for me. Practice makes better. And the reason I say that is because when I started out doing this, my first day doing DYU8, I met 18 people, and before I got downstairs in the subway station in New York, I was sweating bullets. My shirt was soaked, and I was like, I can't beat people, no way. But it ended up working out. And the reason it ended up working out is because I had the confidence to just say, hey, whatever happens today, it's going to be great, and we'll see how it goes. So confidence is a huge, huge thing, because, yes, you have the courage to create something, but also now you have the confidence to say, this is why it's great. This is why it's going to work out. This is why it's amazing. So going back to a lot of the things that previous speakers were saying when it comes to developing community, when it comes to kind of destroying boundaries. Like I believe it was Audrey who said she was putting up signs, right? Or they chalked the street. Yes, it may be illegal, which we don't want to promote illegal things, right? But it may be illegal, but at the same time, it ended up being something positive. And that was kind of what was going on with Date While You Wait. When I first did it, I knew I can get stopped by police, like I knew it. So what I did is I was like, let me understand the laws of the subway, number one. Number two, anybody I engage around that, how can I be respectful, or engage them in a way where I'm not coming off snobbish. That way, if I do get in a situation where I need to move on or I need to get up, I'm prepared for that. And what started happening, and I actually didn't add the photo to this, but I've actually ended up playing games with police officers in the subway in New York City. So they actually would ask me to stop and then sit down with me and play a game with me, which is pretty funny. So it's really all about overstepping those boundaries, right? So using the courage and the confidence to develop these things gives me and everybody else that are doing things the ability to overstep those boundaries. And that was just something that I've learned throughout how and what DYU8 is. So those are the two key components. And the last thing can be pretty much anything, but for me it's connection and also communication, right? So again, they intertwine depending on conversation, honestly. But looking at both of those, so looking at a connection piece, how important is human connection? Just think about that. I'm gonna be quiet for a second while you guys think about that. How important is human connection? Everything. Everything. And the reason human connection is everything, and thank you very much for that, the reason human connection is everything is because we all can relate. Like, we all can relate. I'm willing to bet any amount of, I'll bet my life on it. We all have a mother and father somewhere. We may not get along with them. We may not see them. There may be things in our lives that restrict us there. But at the same time, we all have a mother and father. So when I started to kind of see Date While You Wait turn into this phenomenon and people love it so much, I realized that the reason they loved it was because they could relate. They could literally see me sitting in a subway having a conversation and see themselves having a conversation with me. And then I realized not only can they see themselves having a conversation with me, but a conversation they may not be comfortable having with somebody else. So I would get a ton of messages. I'll get a ton of messages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, telling me about people's lives and thanking me for what I'm doing. But quite honestly, it's great because of you guys. It's great because you guys have taken the time to connect with me and the time to share my story and the time to send me messages. Like, it's a phenomenal thing because I have incredible people that I know, which are you guys, which is the world. So I recently did an interview, and I was sharing this yesterday. I recently did an interview, and they asked me, first question, where are you from? And what do you guys think I said? Earth. Well, some of you know. Because I was probably talking to you. So yeah, the first thing I said, I'm from Earth. And they're like, no, like, really, where are you from? And I'm like, Earth, put it into the interview. Like, that's exactly where I'm from. Like, I don't want to make it any deeper than that. So if anybody later on, if you go on YouTube, there's actually a video of me saying, I'm from Earth. Because that's it. Like, we're all one people. So how do we get to a point where we can use everything we have? Like, we all have experiences. We all have expertise. How can we use that to develop a better Earth? And for me, it's sitting in the subway playing games with people and having great conversations. For you, it may be, developing a crowdfunding operation or having great conversations with family, whatever that may be. But you have to look at it from a standpoint of connection. Conversation is something that we all thrive from. We all can engage in a way that we never thought. Instead of assuming about someone, why not ask them about themselves? All right, like, ask them, hey, what do you do? Tell me a little bit more about that. And I'm willing to bet that if you ask us and position it a certain way, they'll tell you. They'll be open and kind of share that information with you. And I've had experiences with sitting with millionaires and business owners, and also sitting with homeless people. And one thing I found very, very profound within those interactions is that everybody has a story. Everybody, like, every one of us has a story. So share your story and be proud of it. Yes, you may have had hiccups. Yes, the journey may have been rough. But at the end of the day, you're here. Like, you went through the journey. And that's something that sometimes we miss. So whenever I'm on the train or I'm interested in someone, what they're reading or something like that, so I take a second and I look back at my journey and I'm like, I probably can tell this person something really unique about my journey while I get to know about theirs. And then I find out throughout that conversation that we have so much in common. we can practically be friends. Like when I met the creator of Connect 4, he told me, I asked him, I said, how was it creating this game? Like this is a cool game. Everybody knows about it. Like, how was it? And he's like, to be honest, it's boring. Like, I made the game, and it's like cooking. It's like making dinner for your family and not being hungry after you finish cooking it. It's literally what it is. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, I get it. So yeah, that's exactly what Date While You Wait has become. It's become more than just a connection tool for me, but it's become something that everybody can use. And I'm hoping that as we continue to develop, people understand that using, maybe my 3 C's or using your own kind of workflow to connect with people is something that you find very, very valuable in your lives. So I want to leave you guys with this because I think this is really big as well. When you get to a point where maybe you had a disagreement with someone, or maybe you've always wanted to ask someone a question, or maybe you always wanted to do something. When you're at that point, and when you have that nervousness in you, or you feel a little uncomfortable, I challenge you, go out and do it, right? Go out and do it, and do it with full-on integrity. Do it unapologetically. Do it. I get questions all the time like, how do you do this, or how did you do that? I did it. I failed with it sometimes. Like when I first started doing Day While You Wait, I handed out flowers. So everybody was like, all right, this romantic, crazy thing. And I was giving flowers to everyone. I was giving flowers to men, women, kids, because I wanted to thank people. It was my way of thanking people for connecting with me. So I was like, I'm going to hand out flowers. And I learned quickly, like, that's probably not the best idea. So I kind of chilled on the flower front. But then I started, inviting board games. And it's kind of unique when I think about it because Connect 4 was the first game I played, so everybody knows me for Connect 4. But I play Perfection, I play Operation, Battleship. I even tried Heads Up, which is not a great game to play in a loud subway, so I don't suggest that. But I literally, it was trial by error. Like I tried different things to kind of see how it works. And now not only am I, still using those games, but I also do events where the game, it didn't work in the subway, but now I'm using it to connect with even more people. So you have to kind of find ways to do what you love or do what you're passionate about and redefine it. There were several times people told me, change the name, Date While You Wait. Like people think that you're interested in dating or romance. And people are entitled to that. Like, that's up to you. But to me, dating is something that you can do with anybody. You do it with a family member, you do it with friends. Like I went out on a dinner date last night with a bunch of the guys here. Like there was no romantic connotation to it, but at the same time, we had great conversation. We learned so much about different things that are going on within our communities that I personally didn't know everything. So we can always learn from each other. We just have to find the ways we have to be open-minded. We have to be open to connection, open to communication. And I also share this. When I maybe about 6 months into doing Day While You Wait, I got invited to go to France, right? And I got a call like, hey, we want to invite you to this forum that's focused on a responsible economy. And I kept saying to myself, what do I have to do with that? Like I play board games with people. Like what? But I ended up going, and while I was there, I went to dinner with someone. It was actually a friend of a friend. And after dinner, the first thing he asked me was, how does it feel being African American in France? Right? And I was like, I talk to people, man, and like I feel regular. And he's like, I have friends who come and they're uncomfortable. I have friends who come and they're comfortable. But I'm just wondering, what's your perspective? And I told him, my perspective is based on this. There are people in the world that are racist. We know there are people in the world that are racist. But do we always know why? So then I thought about it, and when I broke it down to him, he was like, it makes sense. And what I said was, if I ever had an opportunity to sit with someone who says to themselves, I hate black people, or I hate people, I want to understand why that person feels that way. I may not agree with why they feel that way, and they may have a valid reason why they feel that way. But based on conversation and understanding that this is his or her feelings, these are my feelings, I feel like that's how we're going to make the world a better place. Like we may not agree on things, and obviously there's a presidential presidential election going on, but even with that, we all have different perspectives on things. But sometimes we just need to learn how to open up, listen to people's perspectives, and if we don't agree, I can strongly say to somebody, I don't agree with you, no. And I think that's something that we have to be really, really well versed at as we continue to develop as a community, a nation, a world. Like that, those are things that are very, very important. So that's why I wanted to throw out that challenge to you guys, because you may not agree with everything someone tells you, but at the same time, listen to it, say, hey, I don't agree with you, and respectfully do what you do best and be great at what you do. And that's why Date While You Wait, I feel, has gotten me to this particular point, because I'm very open-minded to listening to people, but I don't always agree. Like I'll tell anybody to their face, Date While You Wait is not about romance. But in some ways, it is. It is, right? It gets to a point where, depending on what the conversation looks like, depending on how people feel, they may look at it that way. So I have to be able to respect perspective. I have to be able to respect people's point of views. And I think that's something that's been really, really helpful for what I'm doing. So, but yeah, that's Date While You Wait in a nutshell. And I'm totally open. I have about 5 minutes. I'm totally open to answering anybody's questions. So does anybody have any questions for me? Yes.
Well, this is sort of the elephant in the room, but have you met anybody from Date While You Wait?
That is a very good question. I've met tons of people. They've been great. No. No. So when I started doing Date While You Wait, I wanted to make it very, very specific and very, very intimate to the moment. So I've had women sit with me, and I've even had guys sit with me, who are interested, right? Who say, I'm totally interested in this, and this is great, and I would love to take you out to dinner. And normally I don't do it. And the reason being is because I never want to taint the experience of what we had in that moment. So if someone, and this is obviously live, but if someone sat with me during Date While You Wait, and I saw them a week from now in Target, and they approached me, maybe, right? But during Date While You Wait, I would never engage with someone like that, because that's a specific experience that I want to have with a person. It's very intimate there, so good question. Any other questions? Yes. Hey. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Has anybody ever cheated during the game?
It's hard to cheat during Connect. I guess you can go twice in a row. I got to think about that. No, so no. I guess you can't cheat in Connect 4 really unless I'm not looking, and I'm pretty glued to the board. But to that point, so sometimes when people sit with me and they're telling me about their day, and they're like, man, I had a really bad day, or life is just I'm just having things are just not good. Every now and then I will let them win. I'll let them win, and then they win, and then they leave, and they're like, holy crap, I beat this guy in Connect. This guy's so good. So those of you who are watching, if that's you, let's play again at some point. I'll be in the subway around you. But yeah, that is a good point. You can't really cheat, but there are games where I play where you can be slick, so you can kind of distract me and do your own thing. So people have tried that, but no cheating. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you, guys.